Hey, it's Kim Komando Today. It's your fun podcast about all things digital. And during this podcast, every once in a while, we come across a story that's like, oh my gosh, we have to get this person on the air with us. We do. Which, speaking of, by the way, Kim Komando Today, you can get it as a podcast, of course, in the audio version. But for the true multimedia experience, you want to head over to youtube.com/Kim Komando, youtube.com/Kim Komando. That's where you can watch us do the show live on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time, 2:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Or you can always catch it on demand if you don't want to just sit there and say, oh, stop what I'm doing right now because I have to go to youtube.com/Kim Komando. Why are you laughing, Andrew?
Most people do that. They say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't finish the dishes. I have to go to youtube.com/Kim Komando. That's how most conversations happen. You're absolutely right.
You know what? People have asked me this so many times. How can I make sure that I never miss the live feed of Kim Komando Today? And you know what I always tell them?
What's that?
I tell them? Is that you have to set a reminder on your phone.
Oh, that's smart.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Just set a little reminder.
Oh, my reminder's going off. I have to go to youtube.com/Kim Komando.
All right. Nobody's ever asked me that.
No.
Nobody
I'm
has
shocked.
ever asked me that. Okay. But so many people have asked, what is the, no, I'm kidding. What is the difference between the Kim Komando? Well, the Kim Komando show is full of tech stuff that you don't get here, tech stuff you don't get in the newsletter, and also callers, the best callers in the universe. All right. Joining us is a woman by the name of Michelle Chandler. And I'm sure it has happened to you, it's happened to me, is that you go to the store, right? Maybe you go to Nordstrom's, Macy's, wherever you want to go. And you pick a couple of sizes of jeans off the rack and you're like, I'm going to try these on and figure out which one fits me the best so that I can purchase that pair of pants, right? And so, so you go into the dressing room and maybe you don't think about it, but you pretty much have to strip down. To take the pants off, to try a shirt on, to try a bra on. How often does that happen to you?
You guys try bras on before you buy them?
Well, not me, but I know people who do because there's always the bra lady at the stores. And she's always like this German woman. She comes in, she's like, no, that does not fit. She does.
This happens to you? Germans are telling you your bras don't fit?
It just seems to be that way. But I'm not. Okay, well, this is kind of a personal thing, but, I'm not, worried about a lot of that stuff because I'm not,
Finish the sentence?
I'm not that endowed. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
When somebody said, when somebody said, boobs, I thought it was like something else. I'm not really sure what happened. Okay. So, but anyway, we are on a tangent, but let's get back. Okay.
Focus.
So Michelle was in a Nordstrom's in Colorado, and she decided that she would try on a pair of pants. And she looked down and she saw a phone that was recording her. Ew. Creepy.
Awful.
Michelle is joining us right now. Michelle, let's start. How did you see the phone? You just looked down and it was there?
Yeah, I actually was alerted because I really smelled some pretty nasty feet.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was kind of alarmed at first because I shop Nordstrom's and Nordstrom Rack pretty frequently. And when I walked up to this particular fitting room, it has one main entrance and you go left or right. I've always gone left. That's usually women's. And the fitting room attendant, I had several things to try on. The fitting room attendant, she said, both sides are open, pick any room with an open door. And I just kind of naturally went left and had a friend with me. And we went all the way to the end because there were two obvious rooms open. The only other people in there was a couple. And the male was standing outside her fitting room and just looking at her outfits that she was trying on. Mm-hmm. So went into the fitting room. I had several different outfits, so I honestly cannot say how long I was being recorded. And like you said, when you're trying on undergarments, there were moments that I didn't have any on. I've only told the police that. So that's pretty uncomfortable. And yeah, I just was trying on outfits. I had a particular pair of jeans on, and I went to bend down, and I looked over to my left because I thought there's someone in here. I almost wanted to say to the girl that was with me, Asia, is that you? And then I thought there's someone else in here that'll be rude, and I looked over and saw his shoes. They were men's shoes and filthy socks. And then his iPhone camera was pointed directly at me.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah. So in that moment, I slowly got up and just remained calm. And I thought, is this really happening? I cannot believe this. I just pulled up my pants and didn't zip them, didn't button them, quietly walked out the fitting room, went back to the entrance, and I told the fitting room attendant, there is a man filming me in the room next to me. And she almost didn't know how to respond. She was like in shock, maybe. And I repeated myself. I said, there is a man next to me filming me. I saw his phone. Go call security. Go call police. And I walked away, and I slowly went back to the fitting room, and I squatted down to make sure that what I was seeing was correct. And he was still squatting down.
He's still there.
Yeah, he was still squatting down. I know he didn't see me. That's one thing that the way he was holding the phone, his camera lenses were pointing at me. He would have had to be laying on the floor looking up at his screen. So that's why I just thought, I'll be quiet. I'm going to go call for help. And yeah, I walked back. He was still squatted down in the fitting room, and his pants were at his thighs. I can't say what he was doing. But yeah, I confronted him immediately. I grabbed the fitting room door, and I shook the handle, and I said, what are you doing? And it was silent. And I said, you're filming me, you sick expletive. And he stood up, and he was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I go, you're not going anywhere. And I held the door pulled towards me so that he wouldn't be able to open it and get out. At that point, the gal that I was with, she walked out, and she's like, what's going on? Because she thought I was talking to her at first. Because, I said, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm trying on clothes. And
why are you yelling at me?
Yeah. At this point, it was just the three of us on this end of the fitting room. And she said, what's going on? And I said, this guy is filming me. I saw his phone. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so I'm holding the phone, and I'm like, you're not getting away with this. You're not going anywhere. And Asia goes, he's crawling. He's down. He's trying to crawl out to the next fitting room. And so I just slowly stepped over to my left. And as he started to get up, that fitting room door was open. And he started to get up. I grabbed the back of his sweatshirt, and I put him down on the ground, put my knee in his back, put my hand down. And this is not the picture that's being circulated around the internet right now. That is at the very end. Okay. So this all happened, and there's kind of no footage at this point. But I held him down, and I looked up down the hallway towards the entrance of the fitting room. The attendant was standing there, and I said, go call the police. And she said, I did. She stayed down there. And 2 male employees came in. They came over to me and said, what's going on? And I said, this guy was filming me while I was, undressing in the fitting room. And they said, how do you know this? And I said, because I saw his camera pointed right at me. And then he admitted, he apologized over and over.
Oh, he admitted.
And yeah. And they said, okay, well, we got it. And I said, he's going to run. And I'm still with my knee in his back. He's on his stomach. And they said, no, we got it. And so I slowly got up, And as soon as the perpetrator could get to his knees and his feet, he tried to bolt. He tried to take off. And the two male employees grabbed him, were trying to, contain him. They were just kind of like in this scuffle, kind of bouncing off fitting rooms, and the guy's trying to get away, and his sweatshirt's kind of pulling off. And they're almost to the entrance of the fitting room. And an employee says, "There's nothing you guys can do. You can't do anything." And so I squeezed around them and I said, "Oh, hell no." And he would have gotten away. And that's when I just went for the head, put him in a headlock, and held on and leaned my body weight against the wall. And so that's the video footage that's circulating around the internet right now.
I also saw that you had taken a belt and wrapped it around his ankles.
Well, that was the very end, because so during this video that's out there, I had him in a headlock, and he was fighting because he wanted to get away. And so the two male, one has his sweatshirt hanging on around the corner of the fitting room, and the other male is holding his legs and saying, "Just relax, man. You're not going anywhere. There's a lot of people that are going to stop you." And I'm like, "Where's his phone?" And Asia went to grab his phone. Well, he had one free arm, and so he went for his pocket, grabbed his phone, and just hung onto it for dear life. And, I'm leaning against him, and his arm is like up here, and I'm like, "Where do you think you're not getting away with this?" And I literally just yanked his phone out of his hand. I think it was at that point he kind of gave up. I handed the phone to Asia. She grabbed his wallet out of his pocket. The two male employees were still holding on. But I think he kind of, knew he was caught. And so, he kept saying, "Can I just sit down? Can I sit down? I'm not going to go anywhere." And one of the male employees was like, "Can we just let him sit down?" And I said, "Well, you guys better not let him go." And at that point, that's kind of when I looked up and I saw male customers, female customers, people walking by into the other side of the fitting room, just kind of looking on, but then minding their own business. I looked up, and this male customer was looking at me, and he went and pulled out his phone. And I looked right at him, and I'm like, "This is what's wrong with this world. And this is why men don't belong in women's fitting rooms." And so then I said, "Okay, we can let him sit down, but you guys better not let him go." And I still have these Nordstrom jeans on that while I'm holding this guy, I'm trying to keep them from falling off because they're unzipped, unbuttoned. I didn't have shoes on. And I thought, okay, I'll let him sit down. Because everything was just going through my mind, like, be calm, do the right thing.
Let me stop you for just a second. You're doing an amazing job. I mean, seriously. I mean, everything that has just happened, everything that you've just gone through, and you have the common sense to say, "You know what, I got to get this guy's phone. I got to hold on to him. I'm not going to let him go." And then you've got the Nordstrom employees, which, by the way, Mads, you have it down, and you have it in the lower thirds. It says Target. It should be, say, in Nordstrom, not Target. But you have the wits about you to say, "You know what, I'm gonna get this SOB so he doesn't do it to somebody else."
Yeah. I don't know, by the grace of God, I just was calm. I kind of thought about situations like this in the past, like, what would I do? And I think that's really what we need to bring awareness to, for especially women, kind of go through scenarios, and always be prepared. Be aware of your surroundings. I did have
So
female, yeah.
no, I was going to say, so what were the Nordstrom employees doing at this point? Because it seems like you just totally took over the entire situation.
I was. I was grateful that they were there and trying to help. Um, but he would have gotten away, especially when, he's fighting all the way down the hallway to get away from them. And then being told at the entrance by an employee, there's nothing you guys can do. You can't do anything. When I did squeeze around to, before I got him in the headlock, I'm like, oh, hell no. You people let people get away with shoplifting. What's next? This? And that's when I, put him in the headlock. After we did have his phone and his wallet, and I agreed to let him sit down if they would not let him go. I did a 180 with him still in a headlock so that his back would be against another wall, and he sat down. One of the male employees did hold his arm behind his back, and another employee sat on his feet. At that point is when, so there's a lot of questions because of the little bit of footage that is out there. A lot of men are saying, this is fake, this is staged. Look, she changed clothes. She has on a different shirt. There's no way she could have held him. And so it was at that point when he sat down, I thought, I'm going to go compose myself and put my pants on and zip them up and get my shirt on. And so I ran into the fitting room, changed real quick. Asia was recording a lot of this. And I walked back out, and male employee or Nordstrom management, maybe a couple of people that I didn't see back there previously, but they walked back. They had phones or radios, and they said, you employees need to remove yourself from the situation immediately. And we all kind of looked at each other like, you're kidding me. And she said, if the two of you, referring to myself and Asia, if the two of you want to hold him until the police get here, that's up to you. But our employees need to remove themselves from the situation immediately. And I said, get him on his stomach. And so they got up, walked out. I had the perpetrator on his stomach, held both of his hands behind his back, and I sat on him. And the attendants were saying, you're so calm, you're so calm. I just can't believe how you're handling this. You have so much of my respect. And that's when I told Asia, I looked around, I saw a new belt hanging somewhere. I said, go grab that belt, put it around his ankles, and pull it tight. So that's when we sat there, and security finally showed up. And I would say it's been 25 minutes at least.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the head of Belmar Security showed up, and he walked back, and he said, I'm going to have her release you, and you're going to sit down, and you're not going anywhere. The police are on their way. If you try and run, I will drop you. Do you understand? And he said, yes. So I let him go, and he sat on the floor against the wall, and the security, head of security said, do you know why you're here? And he said, yes, for filming females in the fitting room. And we have all this on video too. And so I stood up, and minutes later, the police showed up. And I handed them his phone. I handed them his wallet. And there was talk of a knife. He had a pocket knife and was asking for it, which I thought was kind of bizarre. But so it was kind of funny because the police were there. I gave them, his two items. And Asia went out to the male employee in the video with a red plaid shirt and said, "Hey, police, they're asking for the knife. Did you guys find his knife?" And the male employee threw his hands up and said, "I don't know. I have nothing to do with this situation," and walked away. And then just, we never saw him.
So I have a question. I have a question about the beginning of the incident before we get to the conclusion with the police. You said when you walked in that you had seen a man standing against the wall. Were you assuming that he was there to watch someone try on outfits, or was that the guy who then moved in to film you?
No, that was not the guy. Because when I was walking down, his wife or girlfriend had the door open, and he was looking at the outfits that she was trying on.
So this guy was hiding in the dressing room, waiting for somebody to come into the room next so he could start filming.
I don't know if he was in there, if he was in another fitting room, but he did come down, and it seemed, I mean, we were the only 3 left in there.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was just curious if he was just waiting for someone, or did he follow you in there?
I don't know. I don't know. I just know when I walked in there, I didn't notice anyone else in there. And
he must
I
have
just
followed you in there.
But they were gone. Like, I mean, they weren't there when I walked out and confronted the guy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, have you seen a copy of what he filmed?
I haven't. I tried to get a copy of the police report like several days later, and I got an email back saying that it wasn't complete.
Okay.
And I called the victim advocate with the Lakewood Police Department, and then she informed me that a search warrant was issued for his phone, and it was at the crime lab. And I don't know what all is on there. I told her I was really uneasy, not only just having footage on there of me and knowing detectives and other people are going to see that, that I wanted to know if he was like on a live platform filming me. Because I guess people can do that these days and get paid. So I have no idea yet. All I do know is I pressed charges when the police came. I did press charges. I've spoken to the DA's office. He will be appearing in court next month. And I do know he was charged with criminal invasion of privacy with sexual gratification or for sexual gratification, and another charge of adult invasion of privacy, I believe.
Okay. Did they arrest him at the scene? Like, is he taken away in a cop car, or did...
I left. I left because they had him still sitting on the floor. We gave them the video footage we had on our phone, and I left. So I don't know.
Okay.
I just didn't know what I know from the DA's office and LAPD that he was charged and has a court date. And they told me what he was charged with. So...
Do you know anything about the guy? How old? He looks like he's in his early 20s? Is that about right?
When I took his wallet, I did take a picture of his ID. So yeah, he's 19.
Okay.
About 5'8". I'm 5'5".
Well, I mean, he sounds like he's a small guy. If you're holding the door and he can't even get out of the room, what I'm picturing and seeing from the video is that he didn't seem like a big dude.
No, he wasn't a big dude, but he was getting away from the 2 male employees that were pretty solid guys. So yeah.
So has anybody from Nordstrom reached out to you?
No, they haven't. I've gotten a couple emails talking about minority bucks and sales going on, but
Great.
No,
Your naughty
no one has
dollars.
reached out to me, and yeah, I don't.
Are you planning on reaching out to them? Are you planning on maybe a lawsuit, legal action for the way they handled the entire situation?
I feel they do need to be held accountable.
I agree.
I am waiting on a complete copy of the police report
Sure.
right now. So,
But you're absolutely right. These stores, they just let shoplifters walk out the door. They're just so worried about being sued and their liability. And for them to say, we have a victim here and we have the perpetrator of the victim, we are not going to be involved, even though it's happening because of our dressing room, is ridiculous.
yeah. And there's more that has come up that I can't speak on. But yeah, they need to be held accountable in some way. On one end, they have the ability to have all their fitting rooms match some of their other stores and go all the way to the floor.
Yeah.
They have stores where fitting rooms, Nordstrom racks, where fitting rooms are near the men's suit and near the women's lingerie. So it's kind of implied this is men and women. Because their signs, there's no longer women's and men's on their fitting rooms in the stores that I've been in. And, this was not just shoplifting or two customers squabbling over a last pair of, some last edition of Nikes or something, This was a violation. And for them to call off men that are willing to help and in a sense leave me with the perpetrator, like, you're on your own until the police get here if you want to hold him. And I was just like, you let people get away with theft and don't want to do anything. Where does this stop? He's not going to get away, like, if I have anything to do with it, but like, where does this stop? This could have been a lot worse if I were 14 with my.
I was just going to say that.
It could have been worse. Yeah. It could have been worse if it was just someone's daughter in there and changing clothes, and he decides to walk in her room or crawl under the door and have his knife. What could have been done in just a few minutes. So yeah, there needs to be, I think we need to create a safe place for women, for everybody, really. I mean, have men's, have women's, and create a third safe place for whoever.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm just in the beginning of speaking out. I've found my voice. This really hits home for me. I've had a couple of rough years of life. I'm 53. I've raised 5 amazing kids. They're all adults. I'm in Spokane right now because my son is graduating as a pilot and aircraft mechanic this weekend. And
Nice.
yeah, I have been through a lot. And it wasn't until this past year that I've had to dig deep and do some very difficult internal work and healing. And part of that has come from a lot of childhood traumas and a lot of stuff that I've been through that, I just had to dig deep and let God heal some of those wounds and, change my thinking. And I think that had a lot to do with this situation, which in the end, when I was holding him down before the security guard asked me to release him, I'm sitting there alone. I'm thinking no one's coming. All of my dysfunctional belief systems growing up, even into adulthood and my marriage, I'm sitting on this guy. My friend is holding his ankles with a belt. And I'm just like, no one's coming. Men are doing nothing. I'm fighting a battle alone. I'm struggling. And then a lot of anger and rage came up, and I was like, you are not going to get away with. I told him, I said, I could beat the crap out of you right now. I said something else, but and he didn't say anything. And that's when like all this rage of, you can't get away with this. You can't do this to me. You're not going to get away with this. I'm in control now. But then in that moment, because of a lot of the work that I've done recently, and I'm in recovery right now, working my program, I took a breath and I just said, this is a sick man. God, keep me from being angry. Thy will be done. And it was just like a moment of healing and release. Like, I'm in control now, but this does not have to define me. This does not have to break me. And I'm stronger for it. And so, yeah, it's been a lot.
Well, you know what? I'm proud of you. I am. Because by you speaking out, you don't know how many, you really have no idea how many people that you're helping right now. You don't have any idea. I mean, somebody who is going to think twice the next time they go inside of a dressing room. A mom who's going to say something to her son or daughter, a grandmother, grandfather, dad, whoever it may be, is that they're going to say, they're going to have the talk. Because, we talk about stranger danger. But because of technology, stranger danger is different now. And especially, like you said, you've been violated. Okay, you just don't know how much quite yet. And that's got to be that nagging thing that's sitting in the back of your head right now as well. And having the power to take control of this and using the words that it's not going to define you. But I bet you, Michelle, you know what? I'm looking at you and you are beautiful. You are smart beyond belief. I could tell you are a tiger mom. Just these are my kids. Don't even come near them. Don't even think about hurting them. Okay. Maybe this is your calling, that you look at these, that there's some type of standard that's put forth, that these rooms are locked. We're not having an 18-year-old room attendant, that's standing there saying, I got to put the blouses over here and I got to put the pants over here that people don't want. That it's actually somebody who's there to help. And obviously, there's no training going on.
Right.
When there needs to be training, because we have a lot of sickos in the world with the tech in their hand to do a lot of damage. Right.
And the training, lack of training is what it is don't do anything. We've let a lot of these guards down that have been protective measures and to appease things going on in society, and it's hurting us. And we need to do something. You said something earlier about helping other, women. I am committed to pouring my life before this happened. I've been working on writing a book just because I've had a story to tell before this. This kind of is just another big chapter I can add to it. But I'm here to just make a difference, pour my life into women who have been through whatever kind of traumas, addictions, mental health, you name it. I just think, everyone's broken in some way. And, there needs to be mental health awareness. There needs to be healing at an inner level. And, I just think, we grew up in a world, or I did anyway. I don't know how old you all are, but I grew up in a world where I could play outside until the sun went down. And
of course, I remember those days.
Yeah, we didn't lock our doors, and people came and went. And if a kid was acting up, my mom wasn't afraid to bring them in the house, call their parents, and take care of business. And now it's sad that stranger danger isn't enough. You have to, I think, really go through scenarios of what could happen. One of my daughters was in the Aurora Theater shooting years ago in Theater 9 with a gunman.
Wow.
And I think it was that point that we as a family thought we need to be prepared. We need to do some things. We need to teach our kids about gun safety. And at that point, it was like a mental shift in a sense, not sitting with our back to the door in restaurants, looking when I'm walking out by myself into a parking lot, just being aware of your surroundings. And I think, the stranger danger, it needs to be like reality. It's sad that we have to assume the worst when we're out in public spaces and be on guard the way we have to. And really think through, what would I do if I saw a camera under, a fitting room? Or what would I do if, I'm in the parking lot alone? Or our kids, if a stranger does come, it happens every day. And, you really need to walk through scenarios and really be mentally equipped and prepared for something like this.
It's good advice.
It's great advice. There's just so many different scenarios that we as parents are dealing with and the kids are dealing with, and and so many of it so much of it is because of technology. It's because of social media. It's trying to get that internet clout, whatever it may. And in some way, and I know this is going to sound kind of strange, but in some way, the internet almost makes the sickos think that it's okay, whatever they may be doing, because they find an outlet for what that is, and then they find other people that give them that way to go, good job, and it just kind of fosters that. It's not to say that we didn't have weirdos, when we were growing up. They were, but it just seems that have seemed to gotten to a place in society where it's almost the weirdos is normalized, not the exception.
Yeah. And I know, it comes with, on that level, even just with, posting just a snippet of the initial video, and I didn't know it would go this viral. I'm not on TikTok or Twitter or, I don't know. And people were like, you're going viral. Like, this is crazy. And yeah, I think technology just, it does give kids, young adults, it can be an unhealthy outlet. And then, I'm a big I say you are what you think, and our minds are a powerful weapon. Keep them loaded, and it's what you keep them loaded with. And if we're bombarding our kids and young men with pornography and violence and it's just such easy access these days that parents really don't have an influence on the type of kids they're raising. And so I think that's been a big downfall to where we're at. And at the same time, as viral as this has gone, I'm getting people that are like, oh, there's no way you would hold down a average sized man, and I would have just snapped you in the, I don't know, just all these crazy comments. And this is
Stupid,
fake.
dumb.
And,
it's dumb.
But I'm going to
use,
I'll use technology to my advantage, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything that anybody can say about me or bring up. I've found my voice, and I am here to be wise about this platform that I've been blessed with, and just try and make a difference and help people.
Good for you.
You know what? You are, Michelle. You are making a difference right now. And I want to hear from you in 3 months, because I guarantee you that you're going to come up with some type of slogan, some type of website, get legislation, the Congress, whoever it may be, who you may or may not know. And if you need help, I'm here to help you.
Thank you.
Because we do need to put a stop to it. And And if I can lend a hand anyway, just know that I'm here for you. Thanks for spending the time with us and telling us everything that went down.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, Michelle.
You know what was crazy about that interview is that while she was telling her story, one of the thoughts that came to my mind was we see videos on the internet like hers that goes viral, and we just scroll by it, not knowing that there's a person and there's emotions and feelings and a victim and a reaction, all that came after that video. Because I'm sure thousands of people went, "Oh my gosh," or a smiley face comment or whatever, and scrolled past. But there's a person who was really affected by that in that video.
Of course. I mean, she's a mother of 5. Okay. I mean, and now all of a sudden there's some weird video of her. I mean, she essentially said she was naked.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. In that dressing room, and you've got some 19-year-old whack job bending over, taking a video, as she said, to put it live on some website.
Well, that's why I asked. I asked if she had seen it because I suspected that he probably was live feeding it, which means there's no video that's sitting on his phone. Obviously, they can find out with looking into the phone. But yeah, I feared the same thing, that now it's everywhere. It's not just sitting on his phone or sitting at a police station in an evidence box. It's everywhere forever, and that's awful. That's so awful.
It is. I mean, she's obviously very upset, feels violated. She's been victimized. She really has. She went in there to try on a pair of jeans at Nordstrom's, and she came out a victim. And
on multiple levels.
Yes. The store didn't help her.
At
all. The store didn't do anything.
They did. They were opposite of helping her. They told people trying to help her, go away. She's on her own. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. You know what? Nordstrom is not contacting her for a reason.
Yeah. They know they did wrong.
Yeah. They know. Well, you know what? She's going to find her voice, as she said. I like that she said a prayer when she was holding this guy down, saying, "God, help me not kill him. Help me just,
This 19-year-old picked the wrong person to film in a fitting room because she's not done.
I was thinking about this. I take Barry's granddaughters for their birthdays. I take them to Nordstrom, and I let them buy like 3 outfits.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a big deal. And I was thinking about the last time there was not a room attendant in the dressing room. The boys and girls were in one. I went in I was standing right outside the door with the 13-year-old. With the 11-year-old, I actually went into the dressing room with the little girl just to make sure she was safe. I mean, that's what you got to do.
Right.
That's what you got to do. All right. I'm sure we're going to keep in touch with Michelle. We'll keep everybody updated on what goes on with her case. Hey, if you learned one thing from this podcast, I want you to share it. And if you have any family members who you think needs to hear this message, very powerful, important message, is just go ahead and, copy the link, hit the share button, whatever it may do. Drop a few comments because that'll help the algorithms maybe push this to the top, because this is a really, really important story. And thanks for being here to hear it with us.